Welcome back. We've got an update today from the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. According to TRREB, housing sales in 2024 in the region increased slightly, while new listings surged, giving buyers significant price negotiating power, particularly in the condo market. To talk about all of this is a familiar face, Jason Mercer, Chief Market Analyst at the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Welcome and Happy New Year.
Morning, Happy New Year.
So I think what people are most interested in, I guess, is price. What kind of price action did we see in 2024 in the Toronto market?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the average selling price off a little bit in comparison to last year, and that makes a lot of sense because especially in that condo segment that you mentioned, we've seen a real surge in listings. So buyers who were active in the marketplace were able to take advantage of that extra negotiating power, and I think that's going to feed through into the first half of 2025 as well, where first-time buyers who are starting to move off the sidelines are going to take advantage of that sort of positive double whammy of downward trending borrowing costs and negotiating power in terms of their purchase.
How important were interest rate cuts, including those two big rate cuts from the Bank of Canada?
I think they're definitely important, and by and large, we did see an uptick in activity in the fourth quarter of 2024. But I also think that there's a lot of buyers that are still waiting to see more on the part of the Bank of Canada. I mean, our polling suggests that there's buyers out there that have every intention of purchasing a home in 2025, but they need to see maybe another 100 or 150 basis points in cuts before they're pulling the trigger.
The average selling price for all home types combined was a $1.11 million in 2024. Can you break it down into different housing types? What did a single-family home, single-family detached go for?
Yeah, I mean, as has generally been the case, we've seen tighter market conditions for single-family homes. So whether we're talking about single-detached, semi-detached, or even townhomes, we've seen tighter conditions because there's just not as much inventory. I mean, if you think about the construction trend over the last number of years, we haven't seen as much of that product coming online. And so as a result, even with higher borrowing costs, that market segment remained tight. And by the end of the year, we're actually seeing selling prices more or less flat in comparison to last year, whereas on the condo side of things, we're still seeing a bit of a dip with that added inventory.
How weak is the Toronto area condo market? We hear all kinds of negative headlines. I've seen stories in the press about people who have cut their price to as low as they can cut it without taking a substantial loss on the unit, and they still are not even getting bids.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, and certainly as we move towards the spring, there's still going to be a lot of inventory and a lot of negotiating power for buyers. Now, we do expect to see that demand pick up vis-a-vis listings as we see, renters sort of start cycling out of that market, where we've seen rents drop off a little bit, but still high from an historic perspective. And again, sort of polling suggests that there's not a lot of appetite for increased rents on the part of would-be home buyers, especially with interest rates trending lower.
This sounds like a good time for young people to buy a condo. If they can't afford a house to buy a condo, this sounds like a great time to buy a condo. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the last 5 years or so, from a pricing perspective, that looks good. And certainly if you're looking at a given building, say in the downtown core or other condo nodes throughout the GTA, there probably is quite a bit of negotiating power there for would-be home buyers.
Each time you come by, I love to get your take on how governments are doing at speeding along the approval process to get new housing built, which is really necessary all across the country. Your specialty is this region. How are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really important point. I mean, over the last couple of years, we've seen more positive policy initiatives speaking about, both increasing the diversity of home types in given parts of the greater Golden Horseshoe. But at the same time, it's important not to take the foot off the gas because right now we can talk about, an elevated level of listings in the marketplace, and that can kind of give people, license to look at other sort of policy measures. But, by and large, we're going to continue to see strong population growth in the GTA, and ultimately we are going to absorb that standing inventory we have right now, and we're going to need to see that pipeline of supply pick up.
The federal government has dialed back immigration targets. That sounds like something that will have an effect on housing markets in Canada.
I think it will certainly reduce pressure both on the rental market and the first-time buying side of things. I mean, the rental market was running really, really hot up until about a year and a half ago, and now that we've seen more inventory coming online, we have seen average rents ebb a little bit, and certainly, less in the way of population growth will help there as well.